This conference will now be recorded.
Well, hello everyone. I'm going to go ahead and just get started. I think Nove might be having a little technical difficulty, but
I'm
no,
sorry, Josh. I found myself mute. I don't remember muting myself. So let me start
no
that again.
worries.
I apologize. Thanks for saying something. So this is Novo Mana, and welcome to the Technology Review Council. And again, this is our inaugural 2023 session, and I'm very, very pleased that Josh and Green Circle Life is going to be our first presentation. I will say that we are getting a lot of vendors very interested in the Technology Review Council, so you're going to see a number of folks every other week we're going to rather than weekly. And certainly the recorded sessions are going to be up in the YouTube channel for perspective. I will ask the audience, Josh and others from the Green Circle like has said they will take questions. So I'm going to monitor the chat. I will certainly bring those to the table, and we'll certainly have a feedback session at the end. So, Josh, it is yours to take away, and thank you very much for keeping me honest.
No, no worries. No, thanks for the intro there. And hello everyone on the call. My name is Josh Kohlmeyer. I'm a senior account executive for Green Circle Life, and I'm really excited to talk to you about not only Green Circle Life but our amazing platform, SmartFHR. Before I begin, a couple things. I've got a few other colleagues on the phone. Our CEO and founder, Dinesh Sheth. He will be monitoring the chat as well. So if you have questions, feel free. And also some of our other colleagues. I think Tim's on the call as well, listening in. SmartFHR is the most comprehensive digital HR ecosystem with proven ROI, helping increase employee engagement, productivity, and profits. What we've designed is a customized ecosystem for companies to bridge the gap between employers, employees, and their families. It's the ultimate engagement platform, but it does so much more than that. So I'm going to ask everybody on the call, not knowing your roles within your organizations, but I'm going to ask you to put yourself in the lens of not only how can this help me in my current role, but also how can this help my company? How can this bring everybody together under one umbrella? Because that's what we do. We actually are going to aggregate all of your current services, all of your current employee facing services into a single interactive dashboard. And that's what I'm going to be showing you today so that you have easier reporting on utilization, but you can also implement with ease. The team at Green Circle Life is going to be there every step of the way and help this be a smooth transition. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. Bear with me while I get my screen here. So let's talk about the technology. Green Circle Life's app is the most compliant, highest security system and designed with the latest technology. It's HIPAA compliant, maintains all of the different workflows. It's
Excuse me,
also
Josh.
robust.
We're not
Yeah, go
seeing
ahead.
your screen. I just want to
Oh,
let
you're
you know that.
okay. I appreciate that. Thank
Yeah,
you. Let me
sure.
make sure that we can see that for you.
I'll let you know when it's up and cooking.
Thank you for
Sure. I'm returning the favor.
absolutely. All right, can we
Here we
see it
go.
now?
Perfect. Perfect.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. So let's see, make sure it sits there for us. So yeah, so SmartFHR is the system that it's designed with AWS. It's going to house all of your systems under one umbrella. And here's some of the things that we can do for you. It's an industry-leading HR app for every part of your ecosystem. Everything that you're using today, we can enhance that. If you're lacking in areas, we can actually solve for that. So as you're listening in and we get into the app in a moment, what I want you to think about is when we talk to our companies, they're looking to solve for challenges like attracting and retaining talent, underutilized employee benefits. They're looking to improve their employee communication strategy. They have concerns about the health and well-being of their employees. They're looking for a more engaged and productive employee population. They're also looking to lower healthcare costs. So not only are we a health and wellness tool and an employee engagement communication, but we're the entire ecosystem that will link with all third-party vendors. So let's dive into the app and take a look at what's going on here. So this is an image of my phone. We're going to log into the app. And this is where your employees would start and end their day. When they log in, they'll see the branded logo and they'll get
Josh, we are
messages.
not seeing
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You're still
Josh.
not seeing it?
Yeah, for some reason it's not.
Okay.
Um,
How about
yeah,
how about now?
there we do. Yeah, we've got it.
Okay, let's
It might be
let's
slow in
do that.
response. My apologies.
No worries. Let's try that again. So when we log into the app, it's going to bring us into where we need to start our day. Any integrations, any tasks, any messaging. So when I click into the app here, it'll bring us in. Bear with me one second here, guys. It'll bring us into the app where it'll notify us of any type of to-do tasks, messages, notifications. But this is our centralized location for all things as an employee. We have our to-do list, our HR and benefits, communications, wellness. Our families can access it to see what kind of benefits the employee has so that we can utilize them as a family member. So let's go into the HR and benefits tab. You can customize every one of these tiles. We'll do that with you. We can build this out so that the employee experience is exactly what you want to see. We can go into the HR dashboard. This is as an employee, I can go in and log into Workday for this example. I could go in and see what benefits and discounts are available to me. I can do my expense reporting. Now, these are just placeholders. These could be services and providers that you already have that we can link into the app so that there's one central location so that you can track utilization, logins. We can do all of our payroll from here. We can access benefits from here. One of the big things that we've seen with a lot of our clients is for open enrollment and new hires, we can drive all of that engagement, communication directly through the app. So it's a multi-channel communication tool that allows us to drive that engagement through the app and allows the employee to have easy access into different things that are available to them and different things that they need to do within the system. So we'll come back into the app in just a moment, but I want to bring up a few slides so you get a better idea of what we're providing here. Bear with me while I get this slide up for us. So what we found when we developed this program, we found with our other clients that there's a huge return on ROI. I wanted to share the screen with you so that you get an understanding, because like a lot of us on this call, we're probably thinking, well, I already have an app. I already have a tool for this or a tool for that. But the idea is in a complete ecosystem that allows your employees and you as an employee to engage in one centralized location for all things HR, benefits, corporate communication, wellness, all of that in one centralized location that can be reported on at the highest level. And this is what we've seen as some of the results from some of our current clients. And you guys can all see my screen, just want to make sure, right? Perfect. We should see here that with some of our clients, 100,000 employee retailer, we've seen incredible gains as far as usage, compared to previous wellness programs and previous communication devices. In the financial world, in the institutions, 8,000 employees, 100,000 employees, we've seen great increases. 87% employees use the app in comparison. We've also seen some huge turns on some of our biggest name clients, which I'll show you here on the upcoming screen. So AutoZone is one of our largest clients with over 100,000 employees. And where we've seen, when we talk to some of our clients, they struggle with the idea of, I'm never able to understand the ROI from systems like this. But this system is different than anything else because it's a complete ecosystem that allows for all the systems that you already have in place to be tracked and monitored and allow the employee to engage with in one centralized location. So we can see here that after years of use with AutoZone, their attrition rates have dropped by 26%. Users of disability benefits reduce the number of days off. Their ROI for every dollar spent, they saw a $3 return on their insured population. People that participated in the weight management program that we offer in our wellness package saw an average of 10.7-pound loss. And they've lowered healthcare costs and mortality rate due to COVID-19 compared to national trends. This was back during the COVID days of 2020 and 2021. So we've proven with a lot of our clients that we lower employee turnover, absenteeism, and sick days. We have better health and well-being platform, but we actually enhance platforms that you already have. We lower healthcare costs, better benefit utilization, and higher productivity and profitability. So the ROI is there. I'm going to pause really quick before I go back into the app. Are any questions coming up so far?
So, Josh, this is no. There are
Yeah.
no questions from the audience yet, but I'm hoping this is going to stimulate them. So, what you have presented, and I love this use case from AutoZone. Quite literally, this is what I call, for lack of a better term, and my apologies to Dinesh and others, this is like a terrific front end, a terrific aggregator of data where it's a single point of contact. In human resources, we have always struggled with the idea that kind of a sticky point for the employees to go to. In other words, where do I start every day when I'm at work or working from home? This seems to be fulfilling that need very nicely. So um, I just want to kind of bring that up for the audience to take a look at and understand that it looks like through your technology that you can bring pretty much anything to this point of contact for an employee. And it is mobile and it's web enabled. It doesn't matter if I'm in the field or whatever. I am not out of communication. I like that idea a lot. So I'll just leave it at that as just a point to be brought up, but it may generate some other questions.
Absolutely, no, that's a great point, Nov, and this is, I can't stress it enough how this is the main point of access for all things for the employee experience, whether that's open enrollment, whether that's just my daily activity, my daily use. This can be tailored specifically to the needs that you have within your organization from an HR standpoint. I'll get into the app here again just so that we understand what we can do here. As an employee, I can come into communications and the company can generate different tiles within the app that take me where I need to go. So I can go into Ask the Coach. And if I have questions about not only the app, but I have questions about the EAP program that's offered, I have questions about employee benefits or payroll, I can send messages directly through the app as an employee that you can then generate on the back end, on the admin side, which we'll get to in a moment, where you as an HR person or you as a manager or director, any leadership role within the organization can actually manage the communication with ease and answer questions about what the employee was asking about. And this can be 24/7 access for the employee. So I can be at 11 o'clock at night and I'm having some problems with my wife or with my son and I need to get some counseling or figure out about this EAP program. I could go in and immediately send a message with my questions straight over to people who are managing the EAP program. And this can be linked not only to the HR person within the organization, but also can be linked to that third party person that's offering the benefit. And it looks like there was a question that populated, but I didn't quite see it. So hopefully I'll get to that in a moment. But again, this is going to aggregate all of the data and drive all of that so that you can actually report on that. So let's talk about that for a moment because it seems like that might be of some interest on the call. Let me pull up some of our reporting tool here. So you should be able to see my screen now. So what we're going to do, the benefit for you as an HR person, whether that's a benefits coordinator, a CHRO, just an HR associate, an HR manager, is that you're going to be able to log in on your computer when you come in the morning, and you're going to be able to run reports, see utilization, track this, and actually report on, hey, why is this something that we're doing? Why is this communication not being read? How come these people haven't enrolled? And let's send out a message to them. The other benefit is that it's a culture driver too, because we can have a push notification that goes out to the app every morning, once a week from a CEO that's telling the entire team, the entire employee population, hey, good morning, let's have a great day, making it easy to have that communication go out. And I see some messages in the chat, so I'm just going to take a pause here and make sure that we're getting them answered here. It looks like from Damon. Looks like he's curious about how AutoZone attributes 26% reduction in attrition to the app versus, say, process backend systems. It's a great question, Damon. So I'll address that right now. They're actually attributing that to our system being the aggregator. So they're still going to do all of their, say, current processes, back-end systems, but by utilizing our system as one point of access, they're allowing their employees to engage where they can track that engagement and tailor communications, tailor events, and tailor all of that directly over so that they can report on that and make real life changes. And I'll allow Dinesh to also speak to that in chat if he needs to add any more to that as well. Hopefully that answered your question, Damon. Back to the admin console. So we're able to tailor the reporting to whatever you need. Our team is awesome at hand holding through the entire process. So based off the type of reporting that you want to see, the type of usage that you want to track, whether it's health data, whether it's benefit utilization, we can track all of that for you. The app does so much for the employee because I don't know about you guys, but for me, if I need something, let's say a benefit of some sort, I'm going to Disneyland. I don't know that my company has a 10% discount. This is kind of a light scenario. I'm not ever going to look at my employee intranet unless I'm at the office thinking about it. So when I'm at home, I'm able to access everything that the company provides me. My 17-year-old son's able to access benefits on the fly because he can be a member in my app. We're able to utilize everything that the company provides, and the benefit for the company is that you're able to track that utilization. And by
Josh,
tracking that, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. This is a very quick question that while you're
Yeah.
on this slide. So, how does the security consideration come into play as I'm doing this. In other words, what I'm doing at work in a desktop situation and accessing this through a mobile application, are all those things still in place? So in other words, HIPAA regulations, maybe I don't want the family to see the rest of my information and stuff like that. How's that handled?
Yeah, you can set up all of those access points so it's all customizable on the back end. So depending on what you need from the organizational standpoint, what you want your employees to access, what the family members can access, we can customize all of that to the specific need. And the software is completely HIPAA compliant, held to the highest standards, and then we can link any third-party vendors directly into the app so it's a single point of access through single sign-on or login.
And then also the perspective then, I want to say from the standpoint of aggregating the data and so on, am I able to see more than what would be, let's say, set up for me to see in my HR system? Who would, I guess it's probably the easier question. Who gets to administer the security around this?
Yeah, so that's going to be a combination between our team and your team. So we manage the actual security of the system, but then the reporting and the data as far as what's being pulled in, that's going to be custom built for what the individual company is looking for. So we manage all of the security as far as the software is concerned, the product.
Thank you. Sorry. Well,
Yeah, no
and I
worries.
wanted to, it looks like Dinesh has answered Damon's question about the case study.
I noticed that. Thank you, Dinesh. Appreciate that. So let's go back into some of the things that this can do. I really want to make sure that we understand the utilization behind the app and why it's not just like any other app that's out there. So this is where we're going to drive all of our. I don't know why my screen keeps going out, but bear with me. This is going to drive all of our messaging. So I talked about it earlier. Is we're going to be able to set up messaging, whether it's directed at the CEO, whether it's directed at HR queries, complaints. It's two-way communication channel for employees and family members to reach staff when they need help or have questions, but it keeps it in an organized fashion so that we can actually see what's going on and see those questions and filter it out. Because anybody I've talked to, they say, well, how does this make my job easier? It seems like it's going to be more work, right? Well, the GreenCicleLife staff and our support team is going to manage the way it's designed, the way it's set up, the type of messaging that you want to get out. We're going to build an entire calendar out for you based off the type of corporate messaging that you want out, the different tiles. It's a fully customizable platform. And some of the things that we've seen people use, pop-up messaging. So that when you, just like you have on an app now, this is going to be pop-up messages for any number of reasons, reminding you to go out and enroll, reminding you that there's a company-wide event coming up, reminding you of volunteer work. So this is a culture builder as well as a seamless communicator to all of your employees. And then you can also separate it out by cohorts. You can set up to-do tasks, allowing users to have a list of activities to complete, like signing up for benefits, complete assigned training. Go ahead, Nope. Oh, you can also set up responding to requests from an individual partner. So if you're working with BCBS or Aetna or Cigna or ADP, we can actually set up so that your employees can message through the app and that message goes to your partner. So not only do we integrate, but we can also work with the partners that you already have in place. So it's a complete ecosystem in that regard.
So, might I ask a quick question there,
Yeah,
Josh,
go
after
for it.
this? The one thing you and I explored a little bit, and maybe you have that in the demo or can speak to it. If I'm a manager in the field using a mobile app, can I be presented either my unit information or a dashboard or something that might be supplied by from my HRS, but I'm taking it out to this app, even though maybe the app has not been designed, not the app, but the HRMS system has not been designed to provide that on a mobile platform. In other words, you're scooping up the data from something and presenting it on a mobile site.
Yeah, so give me an example there, no, just so I make sure I understand that. So
So
yeah, go ahead.
I'm probably going to excel in it. Let's call it a manager self-service type of look of data. So one of my tasks is to do a merit increase for the 6 people reporting to me. Can I have that information presented to me and transact back to the HRMS system through your app?
Yeah, so we can integrate the systems that you have in place, but the only way the app is going to take information is through those integrations.
Okay.
So if your HRIS system is then integrated into our system, which we can do for you, absolutely, then that's the way that our system would get that information that's in the HRIS. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then Dinesh answered that in the chat as well, as we can exchange that data back and forth from other
Yeah.
platforms.
It simply strengthens the idea that this is an exceedingly good entree point, if you will, to the world of HR and the employee base. So that's a very good thing. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries at all. So let me
All right.
dive into some of the other stuff that we can do in the app so that you can understand everybody on this call. I know people are kind of coming and going, can understand the design behind it. Um, the design again, and let me make sure my screen is sharing here. The design again is to give your employees that understanding that it's easy to do my work. It's easy to be at home and communicate with my corporation. It's easy to have that work-life balance because I know what's going on at work. I can get the questions answered when I'm off the clock or I'm outside of work. And really, you're developing an entire ecosystem that's the employee experience, which drives engagement, drives a happier workforce because it's easy for them to find what they're looking for. So from an HR services dashboard, we can design that around your paychecks, your W-2s, discounts and perks, and the list goes on. We also are a document storage system, so employees can store their documents. You can have your trainings built in. All of that stuff can be integrated within the one system. And it's not just through the app, it's also the employee can log in from a web-based, from their computer and access the information as well. So again, I can't stress enough how this is the entire thing. It's not just a piece of it, which a lot of companies have. They have a wellness app that's provided for free from Aetna or Blue Cross Blue Shield that they have in their package, right? Or they have ADP as their payroll provider. But this is bringing all of it together so the employee experience is simplified and easy, which drives that engagement and drives the utilization. So that's where we see the increase in utilization. Because the last thing you want is to be providing a benefit, paying for a benefit, and not able to really track or understand why your employees aren't using it. I have a story that I'll talk about really quick. My dad is celebrating his 70th birthday this year, and when I first started with GreenCicleLife, it's where I heard him sitting in the living room. He moved in with me for a moment, and he was calling, trying to figure out. He was going through a divorce, trying to figure out how to change his benefits and who he needed to talk to, and all this stuff. And he went probably against 5 different phone calls, 5 different locations, 5 different things, and the end of the day, after 2 hours worth of work, he was really frustrated and just gave up. That experience for an employee is absolutely why people aren't utilizing everything that an employer is paying for them to provide them to give them a good experience. So now with SmartFHR, he's able to go in, click a button and go straight to his benefits package, go straight to his EAP, go straight to hey, is healthcare, is dental, you could split it up however you want. So again, it's the entire employee experience there. And let's go back into the app. We'll show you some of the benefits screen here for you. So as we go into the benefits dashboard, I can go into health benefits and I can see all the different partners that we can link with. These are just examples to give you an idea of what you can do with your system, with your SmartFHR app. We can add as many tiles as you want. We can also link in with legal documents and legal accounts and legal services. We can link in with finance. So again, you can design this every which way so that it makes the best employee experience for your organization. And there hasn't been an integration that we found from a third-party vendor that we can't integrate with at some level so that your employees can access it from this app.
Might I make a quick
Yeah.
observation again, Josh? And like I say, I'm pretty very jazzed about what I'm seeing in the situation. But I see a lot of folks struggling with the fact that the single sign-on situation doesn't exist in their environment. So as a result of that, I'm having to send people off to their fidelities or credentials or whatever to do their retirement tax or their 401ks or the changes and so on. So again, I'm going to go back to something Dinesh said. That it looks like that you can exchange the data with other platforms. So it means that I could potentially go to a third-party situation and transact business while sitting coming through your portal, which is a very big difference between that versus giving me a single sign-on that kind of takes me to the right place. But then again, we hope it's a different sign-on, maybe not a different sign, or we can only look, we can't transact business without going directly to that website and doing it. To me, this is kind of very, very nicely designed. Aside for what it does for functions, it's a great technical design. Is the way I'm looking at it.
Absolutely, 100%. So if you have the single sign-on, that makes it even better, right? If you want to integrate with those platforms and they can log in directly through the platform, it'll take them to the direct websites of those vendors. You can do it that way as well. We can customize however that sets up for you, and we can coordinate the setup and the maintenance. As far as it looks like there's a question, and looks like Dinesh got to it. Thanks, Dinesh. So here's some of the technology on the screen, just to hopefully maybe answer the question that you kind of put forth. It looks like a lot of people have questions about the API integration. Is that we
Yeah.
support multiple languages. It's flexible and configurable. Our team will manage all of that for you. You just have to come to us and tell us, hey, this is where we're struggling. This is what we need. This is what we want in our platform. This is how we want it filtered out, the different tiles. And then we can design that for you and get that out to you and help you with the implementation. And our team's there for you. It also enhances all of your wellness aspect as well, which we haven't even touched on, which we offer digital coaching, one-on-one coaching, and a lot of different health and wellness opportunities to enhance the wellness platforms you're using, but also facilitate if you don't already have one. So there's a lot of different components there.
And to your point, I'll do a quick time check. We're at about
Yeah.
roughly 20 minutes into or away from the end of the session, roughly. Although we can go over a little bit if need be. But I really want to make sure that you also, if you will, talk about that delivered functionality around the wellness thing, because that's a hot topic these days.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go into the app and let's talk about wellness really quick. Let me share my screen again with you. So in the app, we have a wellness component. And that wellness component is driven by our team so that you have that accessibility. So when I go into the wellness tile, I can go in and do my wellness checklist. I can do a health risk assessment. I can do wellness challenges. I can go into digital coaching, go in and earn different rewards. I know that's a big thing. A lot of people are driven with the gamified systems that are out there, so we can drive that for you. But it's also more than just that. I can track immunizations. I can also get in there and sync with my Apple Watch with all of my different devices for tracking my health information. But then the big one is our live coaching. Every person that signs on with SmartFHR has the ability for their employees and their up to 4 family members to get live coaching with our health and wellness coaches. So they can go directly into the app, schedule appointment times, and get those calls. They can go into our digital coaching area, be directed into different articles from nutrition, lifelong health, tobacco cessation. We can go into our healthy body, which I know I need, and I can go in and look at uh, exercises medicine, review articles. And then on top of that, all of this content is already there for you. So now, as an HR professional or someone within the organization where I know and I can see that, hey, my team is accessing a lot of this information, I can now cherry pick articles and actually deliver those to the app specifically so that when an employee wakes up, they get a notification. Hey, check out this article about body mechanics. Hey, let's go into the bulletin board and see if we can create a walking group with all our other fellow sales reps or support reps or however that works. So there's a full ecosystem here that's designed around that employee experience, and we can tailor that for you based off your needs.
So, Josh,
Yeah.
as you're talking about the wellness, one of the hottest topics these days is what I call the mental health world. Um, Meditation, yoga, and so on being one thing, but to your point about talking to practitioners, talk to nurses. So if I have, let's say, maybe even a telemedicine platform in my shop today, can you connect with that and again, I keep coming back. This is a great place to just live when I'm doing work, to live it in your app here. But it looks like I could get to telemedicine that's already geared to bring me to practitioners and that for things like mental health.
Yeah, so if you have a third party that you're using for telemedicine, we can integrate that into the app under the wellness tool or wherever you want it to live within the app so employees can go directly through there for sure.
Outstanding. Great. I'm going to ask a magic question that everybody's been very respectful not to, but I'm going to ask it anyway. This is a subscription model. What am I looking at roughly? I don't need to hear exact, but maybe if maybe a lower end of the market, if I'm a couple hundred people versus thousands of people, what's the pricing range looking like for something like this?
Absolutely. So it's based off a per employee structure. So depending on your company size and the different tools that you want integrated in, you're looking at about a $1 to $4 per employee rate.
That's I'll say, since it's not coming out of my pocket, a very reasonable price. But
And
that's very good to
we
hear.
absolutely think so.
I think it's a
With
very good. No, I just want to make sure that was the case because a lot of folks in the audience here, and myself included, would say, I've already got all these existing structures of which I'm paying. To add another layer that it would be expensive enough just to aggregate and so on. It's a nice thing to do, but it may not be having the right ROI when you figure it out. But to your point, it's reasonable enough and probably less obtrusive than, if you will, than doing switching out platforms completely. So this is, and I think just the access itself is just a nice additional incentive for people to go out there and start using the app. I've seen benefit plans fail because of there's the initial launch and then everybody forgets it exists out there. So I think this is a nice way to bring it all together.
Absolutely, and that's part of the investment, right? Is that a lot, like you said, a lot of people probably sitting out there going, well, it's kind of like a nice to have if I want to aggregate everything together, but the idea is utilization.
Yeah.
You could be paying hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, tens of $1,000s a month in different services that you're running today, and and maybe 10%, 20% of your employees are actually getting a benefit or a utilization or utilizing it. What we're finding is by aggregating everything that you're offering, now we're able to report on the utilization. And from a high level, you can make real time decisions of if I'm offering, say, a third party teledoc system, but I only have 5% of my employee population actually using it over the course of a year or 2 years, and I'm paying a couple $1,000s a month to have that service. I can make a real time decision that maybe it's not the right benefit to have, or I can use the app to easily communicate out and drive engagement with that so that I can see if the ROI is really going to be there at the end of the day. So it's the utilization is the key point. Employees don't want to go and access 20 different services for 20 different things. They want to know that there's one home page. There's one spot that I can go where I can find what I need to get it done quickly and access it quickly. And that's what we can provide here is that entire ecosystem. And that's the ROI that they're going to see. By integrating everything and making that investment, now you're seeing an ROI and you can actually shore up where maybe you're spending money that you don't need to, and also shore up the corporate communication of what's of value and what your employees are actually engaging in.
Yeah, Dinesh has been doing a phenomenal job answering the questions. So you and I are kind of skating along here, just listening. A very just general question, and again, I'm going to look at it from the standpoint: do you have formal partnerships with some of the either third parties or the larger vendors and so on? The reason I ask that is primarily when you have multiple data points or data systems, the idea of partnerships means that the vendors are taking the responsibility of keeping each other honest, i.e., releases and functional changes and so on, as opposed to the client having to deal with that. It kind of, let me this upgrade has broken this feature, and so therefore, do you have anything that in place today? And so, or how many of your clients have gotten so many multiple things that they're saying that's kind of an overhead that I hadn't anticipated that I have to handle now.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we don't. I'll answer this from what I know, and maybe Dinesh can answer in the chat. But an actual formal partnerships, we are willing to work and can integrate with whatever that business needs us to, and we can take a look at formal partnerships moving forward as far as like vendors or brokers that are selling benefits packages of their own and how we can integrate with them if I understood your question correctly.
Yes, no, yeah, I think you're right on the button there. So perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to I know everybody listening in, and I hope everybody's finding value in this. And I wanted to bring up a couple things that really this is what enticed me with Green Circle Life and SmartFHR when I joined the team is is the health and wellness piece, the ROI, the ability, the case studies that we've shown. So I'm gonna jump over there really quick just to share some success stories. Um, and this is where my passion is with it. I know it's a little bit off topic, but I'm gonna jump over there. Um, we have tons of case studies working with employers like AutoZone and HCA and companies that have hundreds of thousands of employees, 8,000 employees. We're able to pull real time data through the wellness component that we're able to actually show stories where we're actually, it's a stretch, but I'm going to say it because I love saying it and I think it's true, is that we're saving lives. We're making employees healthier by using the entire platform and creating this ecosystem. It's giving employees the ability to change their behavior, to be motivated, to know that their company cares about them. And I'll get off my soapbox for a second, but we we're managing diabetes. We're seeing that people are lowering their A1C. We're seeing that people's blood sugar is being lowered. We're seeing that people are losing weight. We're seeing that through pulling the entire ecosystem together and using us, they're actually seeing better health for their employees, but it's also returning an ROI and healthcare plan savings for some businesses upwards of $600 per employee annually. Some businesses $5,600. I mean, the information is there for us, and we can provide. If you go to our website, we have a ton of the case studies that you can take a look at and see what we can do for you. We can manage high blood pressure. We're managing obesity. So these are some great results that we've seen from individual employees across all of our clients. So just wanted to speak to that really quick because that's where my passion lies.
And Josh, you have a question out there from Damon, and I think I think Dinesh has pretty much answered it, but you may want to give some perspective to it in terms of the idea that there are workflows and so on. In other words, what's the big difference between the front end of an HRIS system like a Workday and your system? I think I know the answer, but I'd rather you answer it.
Yeah, so the idea again is a complete ecosystem. So as an employee that may be going in and logging into Workday, I log into Workday and I do everything that Workday is set up and designed for me to do. But then when I want to access my benefits, or I want to be able to ask questions of my benefits provider, which may be Blue Cross Blue Shield or maybe Aetna, I'm going completely somewhere else than Workday. If I want to do my payroll, or if I want to manage my health and wellness portion of my life, or I want to get wellness coaching, I may be going to a different third party vendor. If I want to maybe manage, I need dog sitting, I'm going to manage that through Rover. So the idea of Workday and an HRIS system is that it's providing a service, absolutely, and this is going to supplement that for sure, but it's also going to bring it together and integrate it so that everything beyond just the HRIS system is utilized through our system so that you can track that data. Hopefully that answered the question, and no, let me know.
I think it did. It was from Damon, so I'll leave it to him to say yes or
Perfect.
no.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
absolutely. That helped a lot. It was just confusing to me because I see us talk a lot about healthcare, and I get that. But I was starting to wonder if it was if I was missing the point, or we really focused more on healthcare aggregation as opposed to full, employee experience, which would mean doing everything in one place. So no, I get it now. Thank you.
Awesome.
And
That
I think to the nature of Damon's question, I think that's probably what I would see that clarification of what makes you very different than what we've seen in, like you say, wellness plan or healthcare mobile apps and things of that nature. This is a very different approach. It may have started with a healthcare flavor, but it has grown into something vastly different in my book. So that's my 2.5 cents. How are we looking? It looks like the question that Dinesh is doing a great job. I'm going to put him on all of my calls. So, how are we doing on time? We are at about 10 minutes away from the end of the hour. So, and I know a lot of people may have
yeah,
to leave.
yeah. So we can wrap up there, and if anybody has any questions for maybe the last 5-10 minutes, and we want to answer any questions live, we could do that maybe for 5 minutes and then cut it
Absolutely.
off, and know if you can then send out the email and with our contact information, our website, case studies, and I'd love to schedule individual demos with anybody that was interested or saw any value in the presentation today. So
Well, certainly they can get the link when I send them off to the website. But do you have
perfect.
a slide or you know, how do we contact Josh? Let's put it that way. Let's give the guy a lot of credit for doing this presentation. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. So let me pull up that slide here real
that'd
quick.
be great. And then while you're doing that, I'll invite the audience to do a couple of things. We've done this somewhat very successfully with a lot of vendors where I'll call it feedback. Where we as an audience have been listening to the presentation, good, bad, or otherwise. The feedback handedness that we provide to the vendors is very valuable. I've been told that by many people. I'm sure Josh and Dinesh would appreciate anything we have to say. So if you've got some words of wisdom, some perspective that you want to share with them, please do so. I think that it's meaningful for us to record that because others listen to this. They say, oh, I hadn't thought of that front. And so that's exactly. So are there any perspectives anybody wish to share? I see a couple of folks in here that are usually pretty vociferous, if that's the right
Bring
word.
it, yeah, absolutely. But any advice or any comments are always greatly appreciated.
Yes. So I'll go ahead and start if it get the ball rolling. Again, as I've said before in the session here, I find this to be a very differentiating application. In all honesty, I think it's the kind of thing that if I had to struggle with older or legacy systems or a myriad of systems and trying to, if you will, justify the usage of all these platforms until I'm able to either consolidate them or upgrade or whatever the case may be, this is actually a very nice answer. Now, is this the only application of this nature? In my book, it is the only one that I'm aware of that also accompanies so much more of an HR flavor to it. And the way that Dinesh and the group have designed this, they've already approached many of the large vendors and said, okay, we're going to test this with our clients and to work well. So we have some very good traction in this aggregator world, if that's the way to look at it. I've seen a lot of systems on the back end that do reporting and analytics aggregate data, but not on the front end. And that's to your point earlier, Josh. This is all about utilization. If I'm going to build a brand new system and I want that part of my population to be able to really use it, I just wasted my money, I think. So I think this is, I would keep an eye on GreenCicleLife simply because I think that's going to make a dent. Are you guys planning on being at HR Tech? Let me ask that question in September.
We are in discussions and hopefully we'll be present during that conference. Absolutely.
Okay, well, I will see you there for sure as time goes on because I definitely want to be at HR Tech, and I would make it a point to. IRM is thinking about doing tours, believe it or not, for some of us that are into that world and HRIT certified. So we can maybe stop by your booth with a group of people, which would be a very nice deal. So if that helps you to make a decision. But yeah, definitely. I think that this is something I'd like to say, Josh and Dinesh, as you continue to embellish and improve, I don't know the improvements were, embellish and grow the family of things that you're doing here. Well, I'd love to invite you back as well and show some of the, maybe some next time also bringing the use cases and maybe some of the live clients to the table and have them speak to what they're seeing in the value of your application. One last time, any other perspectives? Anyone want to share anything? I'm not seeing that. So, Josh, thank you very much for an outstandingly entertaining, and as I mentioned, and very, very informative presentation. Dinesh, thank you for doing a terrific job on the answers. I like to say, hitting that, I wouldn't mind having you sitting in the audience just to help answer the questions. So, appreciate it. All
Thank you,
righty.
Nov. I appreciate you, Nov, and thank you for allowing us to present today. And
Our
thank you
pleasure.
everybody for attending. I really appreciate your time and please reach out if you have further questions.
Please do. And they know how to reach me, so that if they're shy, they can certainly talk to me, and I'll be happy to put you in contact. And again, thank you to the Technology Youth Council again for your attendance. You will see many, many, many more of these guys coming down the road, but not exactly like GreenCicleLife. I think this is unique. So thank you all very much. And by the way, Happy New Year, late as it may be. Take care, everyone.
Bye.